What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. I'd like to begin this video by giving a huge shout out to TCG Player for the opportunity to be a part of their affiliate program. If you want to help a content creator out, all you have to do is click on the TCG Player link down below, and it won't cost you anything either. As we continue our journey through Legacy of Destruction, today we stop at Chimera, and I think that this deck got a really cool support card with Nightmare Apprentice because it opens the door to a potential cool future with the illusion cards, and maybe a Nightmare archetype that resembles somewhat of what Yugi played with the Nightmare Magician and the Nightmare Apprentice. I don't know, I just think that would be really cool, especially as somebody who grew up with the original anime, but it reads that you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding one card. You can only special summon one Nightmare Apprentice once per turn this way. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one illusion monster from your deck to your hand, except Nightmare Apprentice. You can only use this effect of Nightmare Apprentice once per turn, and if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. I also would like to point out before I continue with this card, there is one more card, Undertaker something, isn't on EDO Pro yet, so I wasn't able to get it on here. I will have it on the top of the screen at one point in this video, maybe as you're watching it now, but we're now going to continue by using the Nightmare Apprentice, discarding the other copy of itself or any other card, use the effect on field in order to get the search. In this case, we're going to get the Mirror Swordsman, use the effect of the Mirror Swordsman, we're then going to get the Claws, use the effect of the Claws in order to get ourselves the Chimera fusion, and now we can fuse into the Baphomet in order to get the Send along with the effect of Claws, as we'll use that as Chainlink 1. Send off the Tau, as you want to be able to revive the level 6, I believe we'll be getting back, yeah. And then the Cornfield will then be able to get you a search for a Claws, which will give you a Beast, so that you can then get the Chimera fusion back from the graveyard, giving you a Fiend and a Beast so that you can go into your Chimera for the hand rip, and still have access to a rank 6, which is really nice as we haven't gone into the level 5 Baphomet, so we aren't locked into fusions. But we're now going to get the hand rip, as we're then going to be able to go into Beatrice, and now I'm going to show a pair of sends that I'll be showing here along with other options that you'll see in the deck profile, the first one being Statue, and then during your opponent's turn you can send whatever else you would like to, and if you are playing the Horus engine, you can also play stuff like the Keldo and Mudora, or if you just want to side in one copy of Keldo or Mudora for the Beatrice, that's fine too, but just a really cool versatile play that Chimera has now because of the Nightmare Apprentice. I would also like to add that you also get the effects of the Chimeras in the graveyard in order to get the revival from the Banish Zone and in the graveyard. Now, for the second combo, I want to show off Nightmare Apprentice plus any other discard that may be a target that you want to send off of Tau or Beatrice or whatever, and we're going to start here by using the effect of the Nightmare Apprentice in order to get ourselves the Mirror Swordsman. Then we'll be able to use the Mirror Swordsman, getting ourselves the Claws again. Keep in mind this will be very similar to the first combo, as we're going to get ourselves the Chimera fusion, use the effect of Chimera fusion, fuse away into the Baphomet, use the effect of Claws and Baphomet, as we'll send away the Tau and get ourselves the Claws, or the Cornfield, I'm sorry, the Cornfield will then get the Claws, but we're going to bring back the Apprentice, use the effect of Cornfield, get the Claws, as we'll then be able to use the effect of the Chimera fusion in the graveyard. We'll then be able to fusion summon here as we're going to go into the Chimera for the hand rip. We can then get the rank 6 access as we go into Beatrice, and now you have that extra send, which in this case will be able to send the U-Bell. Then during your opponent's turn, you can send something like Keldo, Mudora, or really whatever else you want to send. But with that, I'll take you on to the final combo. Now, for this final combo, I would like to show off what happens when you don't have access into Nightmare Apprentice and how you can get into it. But we're going to start here by using the effect of the Cornfield, getting ourselves the Baphomet, as we can then normal summon the Mirror Swordsman, use the effect of the Swordsman to get ourselves the Claws, as we'll then be able to use the Claws in order to get ourselves the Chimera fusion. Then we can activate the Chimera fusion, and this will give us the ability to go into the Chimera while also using the effect of the Baphomet to revive the Mirror Swordsman along with the Claws to get that search. So we're going to use the effects, all three, as we'll get the Nightmare Apprentice to hand. We'll then be able to revive the Mirror Swordsman, use the Chimera fusion in order to get it back to hand. At this point, if you would like to pitch the Chimera fusion for the Nightmare Apprentice just to get the search, you can, and that opens the door for a Chaos Angel play that would be unaffected by the lights and dark, or have both effects of what happens when you synchro away into a light and dark. But we'll then be able to activate the Chimera fusion here, and we'll fuse away into the Baphomet, as we'll then be able to get the send off of the Baphomet, and this will send off the Tau so that we can revive the Apprentice. And at this point here, we're then going to be able to get the search off of the Apprentice, which will get ourselves the Envoy of the Wax State. And this is another card that you can use as a Tempai counter, but we're going to continue here by going into the Beatrice, use the effect in order to send away the statue or the U-Bell, whatever you want to send away. As we'll then go on to our opponent's turn, you'll then be able to send off something else. It really depends on what you're playing against in the matchup, but I just wanted to show how you can get access into Nightmare Apprentice without even having to open it. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and the last new card that I want to go over is the Diabells. This is another target that you can send off of the Baphomet so that you can revive it and potentially floodgate your opponent, but it's Diabells the Original Sin. It's a light illusion monster that reads, if a Sinful Spoils card is in either graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Diabells once per turn this way. Your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards that were not set. If either player sets a spell trap on the field while this monster is on the field, you can target one card you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy them. You can only use this effect of Diabells once per turn. Now, some people may choose to main deck this. You can also side it, but I do think it's worth being in one or the other. The other ones here are just options that you can play, whether the Horus version or if you want to play the Edge Imp and the Patchwork stuff. You could do that to give yourself more explosive turns, but I don't know if it's necessary right now, considering that we have the Nightmare Apprentice to help you go into the Beatrice, and then having the rest of the Chimera cards to kind of do their thing. But then the Tiger King is another thing that you can play, or the King Tiger, and then you have the Keldo and Mudora mentioned earlier. Same thing with the Transaction Rollback if you want to play that over the Keldo, Mudora, or anything else that you might send off of Beatrice. It's just an option that you have here. But with all of that out of the way, I'm just going to get onto the card by card, as I don't have too much else to say about the deck. The deck really hasn't changed too much except for the capabilities brought by Nightmare Apprentice, and we have the 3 Nightmare Apprentice, the 3 Cornfields, the 2 Mirror Swordsmen, the 1 Albaz, the 3 copies of Branded Fusion, the 1 copy of Statue, the 1 copy of Called by, the Spirit of U-Bell, and the U-Bell. Keep in mind, these 3 slots here can really be any other cards that you may want to play, whether it be the King Tiger along with the Diabells and a Keldo or whatever. We then have the 1 copy of Tau, we then have the 1 copy of the Envoy, we then have the 2 copies of Crossout, the 2 copies of Super Poly, the 2 copies of Chimera Fusion, the 2 copies of Baphomet, the 2 copies of Claws, we then have the 3 Ash, the 3 Droll, the 3 Veilers, and the 3 Imperm to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have the SP, we then have the Muckracker, which is used to bring back your U-Bells, or even your Statue. We then have the 1 copy of Beatrice, the 1 copy of Typhon, we then have the 1 copy of Chaos Angels, we then have the U-Bell Loving Defender Forever, which is the reason why you play the U-Bell stuff, so you can Super Poly your opponent's entire board, and it's also really easy to get out since you can just send it away with the Baphomet and then get yourself access via the revival of the Gazelle or the Chimera. We then have the Dragos Depelia, which is another Super Poly target. We then have the Guardian Chimera. We then have the 1 copy of the Chimera, the Illusion Magical Beast, the 2 copies of Baphomet, the 2 copies of Chimera, the 1 copy of Garura, and the 1 copy of Mud Dragon to round out the deck profile. So for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching, and for the 700 plus subscribers. I truly appreciate your support, and now that we've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below, and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones, signing out.